Everywhere GBS.
A very good morning, and thank you very much for joining us on GBS Morning Extra. It is the 27th day of the month of August 2019, and we're really indeed glad that you've joined us. Today being a Tuesday, we've lined up some business stories for you, and of course, on our Biashara Extra, we are going to Biashara Review. We are going to have with us in studio a guest, an entrepreneur who is going to discuss with us about how easy it is to do business in Kenya as an entrepreneur. And also we are going to look at different rankings and ratings by the World Bank where Kenya stands today as a business hub. So don't miss that. First, we start off with the news highlights, where we start with Census Matters. 2 chiefs have been arrested in Wajir South for allegedly engaging in irregularities in the ongoing national census. The chiefs were identified as Musa Abdi of the Kumbi location, Khalif Sirat Farah of the Habaswein Central, and Habaswein Central Assistant Chief Harriet Mao has also been arrested. Wajir County Commissioner Loyford Kibara said more chiefs in the county were being sought over the offense. According to Kibara, the 3 have been inflating the number of households in the location. And now to a little bit of politics now, to referendum talks. The Gembe South Member of Parliament, John Paul, says that he will not support the proposed referendum argument, arguing that it is a burden to the citizens. Murigi further dismissed the proposal of expanding the executive to incorporate the seat of the Prime Minister as the head of government.
Mimi kuna kitu ambacho ningetaka Wakenya wajue, na kile kitu ambacho mimi huwa nawaambia. Na huwa nafuata mawazo yale ambayo yanamsaidia mwananchi wa Kenya. Mwananchi wangu wa Igembe kama anafinyiliwa, sababu kama saizi tukianza kusema kuna watu ambao tunatafutia viti, sijui kiti ya Prime Minister, tutafutie mtu fulani, nadhani hiyo haitakuwa kitu kizuri, ama hilo halitakuwa jambo ambalo litanisukuma mimi kuunga hawa watu mkono, sababu sitawaunga na sitaunga kitu kama hicho mkono.
Now, this time we venture into business. Now, Kenya's dream of joining the League of Petroleum exporting countries became a reality as the first consignment of Kenya's crude oil left the port of Mombasa on Monday. The consignment of 200,000 barrels of low sulfur crude from Kenya's oil fields in the Turkana County, destined for the United Kingdom, is worth about 1.2 billion Kenya shillings, a price higher than what was initially projected. Kenya is using these initial exports to test the global market before it embarks on large-scale commercial production of its oil. The inaugural shipment of the crude oil makes Kenya the first Eastern Africa country to become an oil-exporting nation. The Seleucia Riga, the ship carrying the Kenyan crude oil, left Mombasa port shortly or after midday on Monday after it was flagged off by President Uhuru Kenyatta. President Kenyatta said that it was a milestone moment for Kenya as it becomes one of the first Eastern Africa country to become an oil exporting company. Talo Oil approximates the Kenya fields in Turkana to hold up to 560 million drums of oil and expects to produce up to 100,000 drums per day from 2022. This field was exposed in South Lokichar Basin in Turkana in Kenya's far north by the British firm Talo Oil and its combined undertaking partners.
Katika hali ya uchumi, you have to find a way continuously to diversify the economy. We cannot stay stagnant. Hatuwezi kukalia pahali pamoja. Kile kitu mimi nataka, chukueni mafuta huko, sisi tutengeneze hapa a trading hub and petrochemical industry for value addition, because the port of Mombasa is here.
Indeed, as we proceed to the full field development, we will ensure that local communities are major
Well, moving on now to still matters related to business. The Upset airline, recognized by the global code KQ, posted a 7.55 billion net loss for the year ending December 2018 as higher cost of offset a jump in revenue. The corporation's rising income hit 114.818 billion, largely driven by traveler contracts. In the last 2 months, the airline has faced a barrage of complaints from clients over frequent cancellations and aircraft delays. This has seen the government come in seeking a clarification from the organization. The KQ chief executive, Sebastian Mikos, told staff on Thursday in an internal news sheet that since the start of the summer agenda, performance has declined knowingly due to crew constraints. The contract extended 2 years ago after a prolonged air strike allowed the airline to pursue only amber-rated pilots, leaving the other fleet with a shortage. Contacted KQ fortified its position, saying that pilots were to blame for the rise in the aircraft interruptions under the crew shortage reason. The Daily Nation also reported that a panel group seminar that took place on Thursday last week is expected to short-term Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia on the steps the airline is taking to address the problem. And moving on to other matters now, traders from Munyaka Market in Kinangop, Nyandarua County, suffered losses worth 1.5 million Kenya shillings after his bar and residential houses were burnt on Monday morning. The fire is suspected to have been started by a jilted lover. Residents say a female bar attendant at the pub had locked her boyfriend out of the house after a disagreement. Kinangop Sub-County Police Commander Charles Rotich said that investigations are still underway. Now to another news of loss. 7 cows died in Bomet County on Sunday after feeding on green maize stalks suspected to contain nitrate. The County Director of Veterinary Services, Dr. Wilson Serem, said that the animals might have died of nitrate poisoning. After feeding on the maize stalks, the animals were driven to a dam where they drank water before dying a few minutes later. And to other news now, I will call this a new phenomenon that is also costing jitters in the journalism and media industry. Facebook plans to hire professional journalists instead of relying solely on algorithms to deliver news. Is a positive step, but is unlikely to shake up an embattled media industry, analysts have said. The social media giant said on Tuesday that it will build a small team of journalists to select the top national news of the day to ensure they highlight the right stories. The announcement comes as the U.S. media landscape is plagued by job losses and newspaper closures, with organizations trying to figure out how to record profits in the age of free news. In the new setting, stories will appear in a section called the News tab, which will be separate from the traditional news feed that displays updates and content from users, friends, and relatives. Quite interesting there, but one would want also to argue that it seems to be a positive move, given that it is on social media and mostly Facebook that fake news is normally propagated. Well, we wait to see how that will turn to be, but indeed it is a big threat to the media industry, not just in the US, but globally. Moving on now, South Africa has impounded a plane belonging to the Tanzanian national carrier over a farmer's $33 million compensation claim for his land, which the Tanzanian government nationalized decades ago. A lawyer said this on Monday. The Air Tanzania airplane was detained on Friday at the Johannesburg or Tambo International Airport after it landed during a planned flight from Tanzania, economic capital Dar es Salaam. Lawyer Roger Wakefield of the Waxman's attorney said that the seizure followed an instruction approved by the High Court in Johannesburg on Wednesday. In the 1980s, Tanzania's government nationalized an enormous privately owned bean and seed farm, seizing everything plus equipment, 250 cars, and 12 small planes. The Namibian-born Tanzanian farmer who owns the property, who also spoke through his lawyers, was awarded $33 million in compensation in the 1990s, but the government only paid $20 million. The remaining balance of $16 million has accrued interest over the years and currently stands at $33 million, according to the lawyer who focused his cross-border dispute. The farmer approached lawyers in South Africa, which is a party to an international convention on the recognition of enforcement of foreign arbitration awards, in a bid to secure the remaining money. Tanzanian Transport Ministry said that in a statement that the Tanzanian government was working to ensure the release of the plane so it can resume its flights as usual. The seized Airbus jet is valued at around $90 million. That's according to Wakefield. Now, away from that, we move on to the G7 summit, which is actually ending today in France, where over the weekend, leaders discussed a range of world problems, from global trade to Brexit and the war in Ukraine. But the gathering took an unexpected turn on Sunday when French President Emmanuel Macron invited the Iranian foreign minister. This brief surprise visit by Iranian top diplomat didn't please many leaders.
I can't stop people from talking. If they want to talk, they can talk.
Now, German Chancellor
Muss man
also
befürchten, dass der Iran.
If nothing happens to prevent escalation, German Chancellor Angela Merkel said, then we have to fear Iran will renege even further.
Now, Iran ups its uranium enrichment, breaking the nuclear deal limits to get back at the U.S. Weeks of tension in the Strait of Hormuz this summer, attacks on oil tanks, and a downed U.S. drone, each side blaming each other. France has been trying to revive the 2015 nuclear deal, which the U.S. pulled out last year. Putting a stop to Iran's nuclear program has emerged as one of the most divisive issues for world leaders meeting at the G7 summit in France, Well, President Macron says it's been agreed that he should approach Tehran in the same, the name of the G7, in this G7 summit. But President Donald Trump denies having discussed the issue, while Trump also is the one who pulled out of the international accord on Iran last year. Well, we do take a short break now. When we come back, we had promised that today in studio with us, we have an entrepreneur who will be talking to us about how easy it is to do business in Kenya. And also we will be taking a look at the World Bank ranking of Kenya on various aspects and how it scores globally. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.